I realize people are getting a little bit of LA riot fatigue, or just riot fatigue in general, and not of the actual riots, but the coverage of it. People are talking about it a lot. Yes, it is a big story. Here's the thing, though. They continue to lie about all of the things going on. Most specifically, in this particular instance, is from New York Magazine, to which I say, hey, libs, we have the internet. If you write something down that is objectively, factually wrong, we can check it. If you say something on TV that is factually wrong, this isn't the 80s where you can kind of just get away with it because what you say gets kind of lost into the ether. No, we can go back not all that long ago and see that what you said was the exact opposite of the truth. We're in a new time and age where we have the internet. In this particular case, New York Magazine had an article written by a guy named Jack Herrera, who's an independent New York-based reporter. And it basically said, can you prove your citizenship for Americans wrongfully detained by ICE? It can be nearly impossible to escape, which is an insane thing to think. Are there going to be U.S. citizens that get mistakenly identified as illegal immigrants? Yes. And guess what? I'm fully confident, and so is everybody else, that it'll just get sorted out. It's going to be kind of an inconvenient thing probably, but everything will be fine. But not according to this article. If you're wrongly detained, it could mean you get deported. This is literally from the article. Though immigration enforcement gets more attention under Trump, ICE, since its modern creation after 9/11, has mistakenly detained and sometimes deported thousands of U.S. citizens under presidents of both parties. Now, obviously, the implication there being that, wow, thousands of U.S. citizens get deported? Well, the thing is, he linked to the report, the Government Accountability Office report, detailing ICE's numbers, and it was 96 pages long. I think he probably figured, well, nobody's actually going to read this. Good news is we have the freaking internet, and I didn't have to read it. I just put it through Grok and asked, hey, is this statement legit? Now, understand, I did not actually read the 96-page argument or the 96-page document. The internet did, but it spit out this. The report notes that ICE identified 693 cases which individuals claimed to be U.S. citizens during this period. The report confirms that hundreds of U.S. citizens have been detained by ICE, but then were verified to be U.S. citizens, and it was fine. In other words, no, not thousands of people got deported. Yes, mistakes are made, but we're talking about a country with 330 million people with tens of millions of illegal immigrants involved. Yeah, a couple hundred mistakes are going to get made, and guess what? It's all going to be sorted out and be fine. Not to go into a whole nother diatribe, but I was talking to my wife about this last night, and I said, if I got swept up in a raid and you got swept up in a raid, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be like, this is inconvenient, but I'm not concerned that you're going to get shipped off to Guatemala. And she said something actually really interesting and thought-provoking that I had never heard about. When you wonder, why are people fighting back against ICE? Just sort it out in the system, in the best justice system in the world that we have. She brought up a really, really good point, and that was this. Well, if these illegal immigrants are used to insanely corrupt governments, they might think that we're the same way, which is actually a great point. Now, the problem is that we're not, and libs continuing to say that we are is going to further the problem. But such is the performative state of politics nowadays. The only thing and the best thing that we can do is point out when they're making performative pieces and just trying to get attention. Here to comment on that and so much more is comedian Bo Robinson and Turning Point USA Frontlines reporter Savannah Hernandez. Guys, thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for sticking with that long-winded diatribe.
For real, Joe Bob. I'm just kidding. It was great.
No, so
don't be sorry, guys, be better.
So this is actually happening in real time, or at least when we're having this conversation. Alex Padilla, senator from California, got arrested for questioning DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Watch this video clip, guys, and I want to get your reaction about, he's just asking questions. He's not bombarding a podium. He's not yelling things out during a press conference. He's just asking questions. He just got arrested for asking questions. Watch this.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your...
I also
Hands off.
That's a lot of pushing and shoving for some questions.
Now it looks like at the end of that he did start to go, okay, fine, now let's go out. Savannah, I mean, your initial thoughts on this as it's kind of unfolding. To me, it just seems like a publicity stunt because everything in politics is just a publicity stunt. And Gavin said on his Instagram feed, he was arrested for asking questions. So I said, okay, well, if I go to one of your press conferences, just yell incoherently, that's just fine. You're just going to let that happen because all I'm doing is asking questions. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, as somebody who has confronted multiple politicians, including our former Department of Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, the reason why it's funny, right? Because when I ask questions, I'm not pushing my way into a Secret Service member. But for some reason, it's always the Democrat security who are coming and pushing me away. But when it's the other foot, they think that it's okay to like bombard and push and, make their point known and then try to scream free speech. That's not how that works. It's just so funny to see the double standard because, again, if you're, a right wing or even just like an American citizen who wants to talk to a politician, they will shut you down immediately. And this is how they treat you. We don't really say anything about it. But then meanwhile, Democrats, like they make it a point to make it a publicity stunt to go and bombard and to go and bully and go and scream in the middle of a press conference. Come on.
Yeah, I guess again, it's not a free speech thing. He's got all the free speech he wants. He's got the internet. You've got you can question the secretary after she's done making her statements. But Bo, do you think that this is a sort of thing that libs are gonna see and go, oh yeah, this is clearly a guy trying to get attention, or they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we're in a fascist dictatorship because you can't do, like I don't know, how is this gonna be perceived?
Well, remember, liberals have the mind of a goldfish. They're the 10-second Tom, right? So they've already forgotten about all the lawfare and prison sentences they tried to give Donald Trump 6 months ago. And they're probably going to take this out of context and say that he got pushed out while he was trying to support ICE or support illegal immigrants, when clearly he was yelling and screaming in the middle of a press conference, and his lineman skills didn't come into effect here as he couldn't really shove back and got pushed out of the room. I just hope he's not a line coach anywhere. That's going to be a real problem. His team's not going to do very well. So, I think the libs are going to see this, and they're probably going to side with him. Of course they would. Why would they do anything else? But, the truth is there's a lot of context missing from this. So I don't think you should be able to push and shove your way to the front of Kristi Noem's press conference. It's a little uneasy.
Unless you're just trying to get attention. I immediately went to Senator Padilla's social media accounts and screenshotted how many followers he has. Gavin Newsom, by the way, has climbed 500,000 followers in the last week just on Instagram alone, which is his only goal. He doesn't actually care about stopping anything. He just wants to gain followers and gain attention.